that he's inspirational. That's what matters.
That's right.
So
I wasn't saying he wasn't that.
What's that? Keep going.
Well, it's inspiring, yes.
So, if you guys were in Detroit last week, you heard the story. So, Chanel and others, don't say anything. But this is actually a true story, and I love how it's just a reminder for us. So there was a little schoolboy, and he was in school, and his teacher gave him a note to give to his mother. So he goes home, gives his mother the note. Mother reads the note, tears in her eyes. The little boy said, "Mom, what did the note say?" She said, "It said you're a genius, and the school doesn't have the resources to teach you. So I'm going to have to homeschool you." Little boy's all excited. It's like, this is great. And so she does. She was a teacher. She was awesome. This guy was insane. It's sort of like he excelled at everything. He went on to become very important. And then his mother fell ill. She died. He's going through the papers, and he finds that note. And he opens it up. Now he's crying. The note actually said, "Your son is retarded, and we don't have the capabilities to handle him. He is expelled." Does anyone know who that person was?
Edison.
Thomas Edison. What if the mother actually read what was on that paper? How would it have changed him, and more importantly, us? How do we see things? What's your perception? Scott just talked about the future you. That's what you have to live today. You need to step into that future you now. You need to live that. You need to see Gene's boat as your boat.
I
You
do.
need to see Jane. Well, I didn't get an invite yet, but I'm working on it. You got to see Jay Kinder in his plane, right? That's the future you. Guess what? We all work in the same place. We all have the exact same opportunity. It ain't too late. We are just getting started. I'm sorry, you got question one yet?
No, that was good. That was good. That was good. Give
That's
my
it.
So here's the deal. Now I know a little bit more about Thomas Edison. How about you? That was a powerful story. Thank you. But for those guests here and a lot of new agents here, Michael, tell them a little about you. Like, where did you weren't born at EXP. We want to hear your background. Tell us about your background.
So I spent 15 years at another company. It could have been anywhere. Like that. Yeah. So I spent 15 years in Realogy. I was the senior vice president. I looked after all the global expansion for all 6 brands, which was Sotheby's, Coldwell Banker, Century 21, ERA, Better Homes and Garden, and Corcoran. So collectively it was 300,000 agents in 113 countries when I left. And then I met Glenn Sanford and Jason Gessing and Jeff Whiteside, and it was sort of like, here I am. And, and I've said this before. The 15 years of 300,000 agents, 113 countries, never once in my entire career did I ever hear anyone say, including me, Realogy changed my life. Never. I heard that day one at EXP. And then I thought, what the hell did I get into? It's sort of like, what is this cool idea? It's sort of like, but it was just the idea, because I'm born and raised in New York, and we don't trust anyone. And it was just like, what the hell is all this? I sort of like changed my life. But it actually did. And that's what was powerful. When you actually started going into, because I was hired in May of 2020, right at the height of the pandemic, right? So we opened 5 countries in the first year without ever getting on a plane. We actually ended up opening 21 countries in 2.5 years without ever getting on a plane.
Give them a hand, you guys. That
The hand goes to you guys, because it was your stories. It was Vincent coming into my office the first week that I was there with Bill Campbell. South Africa became the first country that we opened. As he said, 700 agents strong now, and actually number 9 of all the state agencies in that country of more than 5,000 different brokerages. So the fact that we went to the top 10 in 2 years is extraordinary. It's our 4th highest producing revenue country that we have. So those stories are really, really strong. But it wasn't me. It was all of you as we build this. We build this together.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. On that note, I'm curious if you pull it back. I know your first meeting, I think, was with Jason Guessing.
It was.
You met with Glenn.
Yeah.
But what was it that made you take the leap from this giant cruise ship, anywhere, into this, theoretically almost like a startup? We're in the U.S. and Canada. I believe that was it.
Yeah.
Why did you take that leap of faith?
You know what, it was so funny because my accountant, who I've known for 30 years, we went to school together, he says to me, "You're making a huge mistake." He says, "You're number 3 at the largest real estate company in the world. What are you doing? Why would you go to a startup?" Those are exactly the words he said. And I said, "I can phone in my job now. I wasn't challenged anymore." And that's a really bad place to be. When you just want to wake up and you can just phone it in, complacency is the start of death. You cannot do that. I didn't want to die. And so I sort of said, I've got to take this chance. I believe in it. I like these people. And so that was really the leap. And in the first, it was supposed to be a 20-minute meeting. This 20-minute meeting with Jason and Glenn and Jeff ended up being a 2.5-hour meeting as we start just talking about and creating what would an EXP Global look like. And I started having fun at that meeting. And that's where we just started. It started from there. It was crazy.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so everybody wants to know what's coming on the horizon for EXP Worldwide, international expansion. We want the scoop. We've traveled thousands of miles to be here from all over the planet. Can you share with us a few little insights of, like, where are the bright, shining, can you? Can you tell us where we're opening next?
Here's
Give
what
us
I will tell you.
a hint.
Here's what I will tell you.
I always do this to him.
I know. But wait, I actually am going to give Brett an exclusive for once. See?
I like this.
All right. So we're actually rethinking how we do our growth, right? So obviously we're not a franchise. So every country that we've been in, we go in and we set up the entire infrastructure. So we do the corporation, the legal, the accounting, the finance, everything comes from our side. And the way that we look at it is that we look at something on a trajectory of 18 to 24 months to be cash flow positive. And that's how we select the countries that we're in. So as we're continuing to grow and entering into, a different market, we're thinking, how do we get creative that we can continue to grow in a different way? And so, I'm almost afraid to tell you, but I'll tell you. So, we're looking at markets where we may not be interested in fully investing in it, but it still might be an interesting market. So what we're actually open to now, and we've got a lot of due diligence that we've done with our legal team, is looking at a possible partnership where somebody, so let's just say, Turkey has come up a few times in this room in the last few days that I've been here. So let's just say that there's a brokerage in Istanbul that wants to use EXP Turkey or EXP Istanbul, depending on where it is. They would pay us a fee to use EXP, the name, and then we would figure out some sort of a partnership with that larger entity that's already in market, where we can actually still have you guys participate in rev share for anything that you would bring into that market, but they would lead it. So they would lead it with their team, with their structure, with the fact that they've built already, and then we can build upon that. So we are looking at some territories right now. We've got about a dozen people that have raised their hands in different territories around the world, where they would like to sort of take this into a beta test. So that's what we're working on right now. At the same time, we would continue our normal process of what we've done with countries that we do want to enter. And we've got about 22 countries under consideration in various parts of due diligence. So we are looking at various ways to do this. And then on the domestic side, you had Dave and team up here yesterday, but we're also going to be adding some other folks to our US side of growth. We're looking at 3 of our largest states are California, Florida, and Texas. So go on. So in California, we have over 11,000 agents. And so it's crazy, right? And so I think Texas is around 10,000, and Dave, I don't know if you're here, but Florida, I think, is 9, and it's like, so I might be off a little bit on those numbers, but at any rate, those 3 states represent over 30,000 agents. Wow. And so what we're looking to do is to put a growth person in each one of those states, and they would actually be working with the ROMs that are there, the managers, the brokers in state, and start working on growth and start working on the agents that are there to help them grow their own business.
Love it. So a lot of people say, oh my gosh, my best friend from college, my uncle, my brother's in Belize. Can we please go to Belize? And
Why do you always bring up Belize? There's 12 agents in Belize.
That's not what I'm trying to get.
Why do you always bring up Belize?
It's an example.
Oh, okay, go on.
It's an example. So several things is that when we look at, there's 200 plus industrialized nations. He looks at what's the population, what's the agent count? 12. You know, you understand? 100. So we get it that you have, and then the political climate, the economic, their stable, is their currency stable, right? There's a lot that goes into how you pick a
Listen, there's countries where our model doesn't even work. Right, so there's China, for example. There's a lot of people that have asked about China. I would love to be in China. And so I've opened other brands in China. Our brand is much more difficult because we're not a franchise. So as an American company, we would not be able to even control our company in China. So we actually thought about this years ago, which is why we opened Hong Kong first. So we would have opened up China as a subsidiary of our Hong Kong operations. So we actually got that one sort of squared away. The problem is that China is the only country in the world that does not allow for cross-border revenue share. So if you were to sort of bring an agent into China, we couldn't pay you. So we need to come up with a different model in China. And I'm not saying that we're not going into China, by the way, because we actually are interested in it. But we would have to figure out an alternate model to get you guys paid. And we would also have to put a server in country because of the firewalls of the United States. So there's a lot of different countries. We wouldn't even think about that, right? It's like, why aren't we in China? Because. But in the Philippines, there's a real estate law that says you have to hire a manager for every 20 agents you have. So we can't have 100 managers in the Philippines. It doesn't make sense economically.
You can see there's a lot that goes into this. So I want to hit the thing a lot of people ask. So a lot of people are like, well, I just live in Reno. I just live in Fresno. I just live in Charlotte. I just live in, Miami. Why Ohio? Canton, Ohio, or wherever. Why I'm even concerned about these 23 other countries outside of the U.S. Like, why is it beneficial to our guests? Why is it a big deal, in your opinion?
You know what I love? So when I was working for that other company, there was a story. I lived in London for 5 years, and it was building up the Sotheby's European network when I first moved over to the corporate side. And I remember there was a large vendor, as they called them there. And he had a huge listing, and I remember they were trying to get the listing. And they said, your buyer can come from around the corner or around the world. Does it matter to you which? No. Of course not. Well, then why wouldn't you sign with me? So it's the same story for all of you. You could be in Reno or Idaho. Your story can be impacting somebody in South Africa, somebody in India, or somebody around the corner from you. Does it matter to you? It's selfish not to share your story. EXP has been a gift for you. Woo! And all you need to do is share that gift with as many people as possible to change as many lives as possible.
Love it. Thank you. We have 4 minutes left. What's the best way to recruit an agent in one of our international markets? I got this friend in Dubai or in Israel or Tel Aviv or Jerusalem, and they're all excited. What's the process? What do you recommend? Should they all call you and workplace chat you? All of them? So why don't you help them out on the process? I'm saving you here. You owe me for this. If they do, you guys call them. I know you do.
Just call Brent. So I'm actually going to reword the question.
Okay.
Never recruit, attract. Do what you do every day. Let that be an example for others to come and follow you. So your story is just sharing who you are. And just technically and practically answering the question, there are 24 countries around the world now. Those people want your expertise as being a successful US-based agent. I would sort of say pick up the phone to the 24 people that report into me around the world and go in and sort of say, hey, would you like me to come into your sales meeting? Now you may need to get up at 11 p.m. or 2 in the morning to sort of hit India or something like that, but is it worth it?
Yeah.
Get creative. Figure out how you add value. Who said earlier, it was Bill, my brother, who I love. That was a great way to start. But Bill sort of said, come from a place of value. What are you giving? Right? The market is shifting, but what are you giving for people can come to you, and you've got to be that source of attraction. Don't recruit, attract.
Love that. I love that. Okay, so someone said, okay, I have someone in Spain or I have someone in Portugal. How do they reach the broker in charge for Spain or Portugal in WordPress?
Oh, that's a good one.
Can you? Yeah.
All right, so write this one down. 2 things. expglobal.partners. That's the global website. It has an interactive map. All you need to do is hover over that map. It'll take you to the landing page of the country that you want to work on. And you will have the model in that country in native language and in English. The second place where everything is international conversations on Workplace. That has over 3,000 members now. Pinned to the top is the contact information of all of the 24 leaders around the world and how you can find them.
Love it. So give us the first website real quick again.
Sure. It's expglobal.partners with an S.
There you go.
There you go.
Okay, so last question. Minute 25 seconds. What has been the most rewarding experience that you personally experienced in these different countries with an agent or a brokerage or just a situation? What has just been like, I love this?
You know what? There's a couple of things that come to mind. When we opened India, for example, we had a large RE/MAX team, 300-member team, not a brokerage, 300-member team. And everyone is sort of saying it's sort of like I'm too late for this opportunity. Again, there's 1.5 million agents in the United States. There's over 25 million agents outside of the United States. You're not too late for anything. So this agent, this team leader of 300 agents was coming over from RE/MAX, and he wanted to talk to me before he pulled the trigger and move over. And so his name was Dinesh, and he said to me, Michael, I've been in the industry for 35 years. I've seen a lot of models. And he said, you know why I want to join EXP? And I said, tell me. And he says, because this model was made for humanity. You floored me. It was such a beautiful statement that God, and somebody wasn't even with us yet. And And he caught it, and he, at Edson Liggett, he used that so many times because it's truly the model made for humanity.
We need some t-shirts, right?